what are those two things? What's the big one?
A paddle one.
Yeah, and the other one? Don't you find another one? What's that?
It's little.
Oh, is that one for you?
Yeah.
Because you're little?
Yeah.
Okay, what are we going to fix?
That'll and then that'll.
All the cars?
Yeah.
Okay, one at a time or all at the same time?
Yeah, all at the same time.
Well, let's go! We are fixing the stereo in this car right here. I just got it, and it still has the factory stereo. So, I took my little pry thing right there, and I pried off that thing right there. I'm a Haynes manual kind of guy, so I went into the Haynes manual, and it said, take off all of this stuff, and then take off that stuff, and I became skeptical. I wondered to myself, perhaps not. So, at this point, I've simply got, well, it's going to be a little bit annoying. It's a double DIN original sucker right here, and oh, by the way, I did not disconnect the negative battery cable. I probably will. That looks like it's doing some kind of anti-theft nonsense, so I'll take that off. But then we're gonna go here and deep in there. See way in there? Whoa, yeah. Because I can't access these side guys right here. So what I'm gonna have to do is take the whole thing out with this one and that one and the corresponding left side.
Turn around.
What?
Turn around like that.
Turn around like how?
Like this.
Yeah, okay, and that makes it work?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if that fixes it, then that's good. So we're gonna take out that top one. What? Oh yeah, I need that one. We're gonna take out that top one right there, and the other one down in there, and then I'm gonna slide out the whole mechanism, and then I'm pretty sure I need to remount the bracket. I'm going to unscrew the bracket from the radio itself and then remount the bracket and then figure out what kind of thing they shipped me from, who is it? Somebody made a little dash kit for this sucker, and we'll see what that looks like.
Sit on Edward.
You're gonna do what?
Sit on Edward.
Okay, that's fine. See ya. Say bye. Watch out for the door. Oh, what do you think? Which one do you think will make it work?
Mine.
What do you have?
That's my screwdriver.
That screwdriver right there?
Yeah.
Well, that won't work because that's a Phillips screwdriver, and these are 10mm hex heads. So the one that you're holding in your right hand, this one will work. Right like that. Okay, so I opened up this case. It's a part kit from Metra, and look at this. There are instructions. Whee! And the instructions say, do what I just did and take out those 4 10mm bolts. Indeed, they were metric bolts. Go figure.
Nobody's talking to you.
Well, nobody's talking to me, but I'm talking to everybody. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Do you want to say hi to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, say it.
Hi.
Okay, good work. So then I'm not to reuse the metal brackets that were on the side of the radio. They've given me some heavy plastic brackets that are, I suppose, going to just right fit and give me a slot into which I can screw the, or just slide the new stereo, and click, and everything will be just great. So, look at all those fun connections. That's gonna be really fun. I also got some other parts that need to be used in this application. One of them, I don't really know how to feel about this, but GM has for years been using a smaller antenna for their radio than everybody else. And so every time you work in a GM car on the radio, you need to get an adapter because this dinky little dude just floats around inside the opening of the aftermarket head unit, so you got to get something that makes it a little bit larger. This particular fix that I got has a nice right angle on it, and it gives you some flexibility with the additional cable to make it go different directions, right? So that's there. And then another thing that I got is a harness connector right here that should be plugging directly into that, bloop, like that. Oh, probably upside down. Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure that out. No, like that. So it'll just go into there, and then I can just take these wires that are nicely stripped on the ends already and solder them onto the wires that are coming out of the new head unit. It's got its own connector plug, and I'll put some shrink wrap on that and show you those guys, but that'll be a pretty quick operation. So that's my plan. The only mystery that remains is, what is this big thing? Where was it? This guy. Look at this big old thing coming in here with some nice heavy wires. That's coming into the old stereo, and it's not a thing that came with my General Motors wiring harness. This guy right here from Turbo Wire. So that's weird. What do you see?
What is that?
That is a great mystery to me. I don't know what that is either. So that was inside of the dash section here, behind a button that doesn't work. That went into this little location right here. And it seems to be something mechanical, but that's like an option that's not there. You got AC and then recirculate AC, but down at the bottom, I don't know what it is, but there's room for to be some electromechanical stuff in here. There's some stuff wired up. So there might be something that moves it in or out, but it might, I don't know. I mean, it's a cable, right? It slides. So I don't know if there's an actuator in there or what. That's a mystery. Don't honk that horn. You better not. Okay. Well, hey, my frustration level has mounted a bit. I've discovered that I have the Moon and Tunes package. Look, there's a moonroof. So, there's actually really nice sound coming out of the speakers. We got a little tweeter up high and a woofer down below, and there's an amplifier underneath the dang passenger seat. This guy right there. So I have to figure out how I'm gonna work that into the system and what new components I'm going to buy, because I want to have an aftermarket head unit so I can use my music from my USB drives. So I'm taking this sucker out, and this is super annoying. This is the only way that I was able to actually get this bolt to rotate a little bit. The front two came out no problem at all, but you got yourself a 12mm bolt in there and no clearance. I tried like 3 extensions and a straight handle out that way, but I couldn't get enough torque. Maybe if I had like an 18-inch extension, I could do that. But this guy right here wiggling just a little bit, that's gonna get it done. Man. So this has actually been kind of interesting, although quite a lot of learning had to take place. These 3 connectors go up into the instrument panel. I just wanted to point out that they're nothing to do with the audio. And then there are 2 things that plugged into the back of the stereo. That guy, the big guy, and if you buy the Metro harness, that's what you get. And then this one, and I've found on some forums, yay, Gen Vibe guys, this is not needed when you get an aftermarket stereo. So, okay, great, an aftermarket head unit. Look at those. The only things coming in there are, beats me, maybe signal control to the amp or something, but we're going to find some other way to do that. So the other thing is that this is not how I found it. It's really elegant, and they're just the right length to go into the stereo and everything. I found all of this stuff attached. And what was happening here is you'd take the car harness, and then you'd come in here with one of these guys to get the wires back out, and then you go to another car harness. So this is a way for them to really quickly tap on. So the guys in the field don't have to do any soldering. They really quickly tap onto, it looks like just 2 of the wires. So then they take these 2 wires over here, and they go to this connection, which was feeding into, interestingly enough, one of these things. This guy here is an XM Direct Smart Digital adapter, and that's how you could get the XM satellite control into the factory head unit. So I don't need that. So I don't need that connector that's shown right there. And this guy was just going. It was taking the in from the factory connector, and then that was going to the radio again. And then again, you can see that they've patched on some things in order to grab more wires to go to the adapter for Sirius. So I imagine, or XM, I imagine XM just sold this entire thing as part of their installation kit, and then whatever whoever was putting it in would just slam this little box in there and get some audio cables down to the XM receiver, which was down in here behind the glove compartment. So down in the glove compartment, I took out some more stuff, including the XM antenna right there. So anyway, I cleared all that funk out of there. I've also got my adapter here on that stereo, and now I was really, really wonderfully pleased to find that I can still use the amplifier. I just need to make sure that I turn on the signal that says, "Hey, amplifier, turn on." And there's a wire for that in the Metro harness. That's good. And the only other thing I need to watch out for is the audio level, what I mean is speaker level output of my amplifier will overdrive the, my head unit rather, will overdrive the amplifier. So luckily it's a medium line, I don't know, $90 sort of head unit, and it's got some line level outs that I can tap into with some RCA jacks that, oh, and this is actually super cool. The Sirius stuff has some gold-plated RCA cable, so I can chop off those two and get to the left speaker, or maybe let's say rear, left and right, and then I can get front, left and right with those two, because it's just a male on both ends. Handy dandy, and I'll let you know. I'm gonna do some soldering inside. I'll probably film that a little bit. All right, here's the setup inside. I got myself the RCA cables snapped, and that inner conductor is the positive, and the outer conductor is, well, the negative or ground. And so I'm grabbing all the positives right here, and I'm gonna solder them up. Notice I slipped on, oh shoot. I was going to put one on the other one too. I slipped on some heat shrink right here. That requires forethought, and I don't always have that, so we're going to have to just electrical tape this one. And then I'll come through with the other one, the other conductor, and that'll go on there. And what I ought to do is put a bigger heat shrink on here and then slip it over the whole thing so it can look nice and elegant. And grab those two wires. But I'll have to do that on the next pair because I'm running out of pairs. Okay, and then I'm going to connect these three guys, which do things like bring power and tell the amp to turn on and stuff. Then I'll bring it all outside and clip it together and screw it in and be done with this crazy project. Oh, I want to show you two things. One, some person wonderfully, laboriously typed up all of these color codes at the various spots in my car. Amazing. A hero for our day. And then there's also this random document probably stolen from some tech book, including some color codes right there. Look at those. Yep, those are color codes and such. And then also you've got the car stereo, what the colors it prefers to have. So I'm looking at that. But it's important to note that I'm not using these cables right here, which are, I'm going to use a couple of them, like the antenna, remote control, this kind of thing. But I'm not going to use the cables here that would output speaker level sound, because I'm going to go to the RCAs, which are line level sound, and we'll then go to the amplifier and sound really nice. Let's hope. Well, I couldn't find my heat gun, so I just used electrical tape and then more electrical tape to make this work. And I've also connected the ground, and I've connected the always on and accessory on, or ignition on, or whatever. One of these is always and the other one's sometimes. And then I got an illumination slash dash light going over there to, this would go back to the car. But I don't have anything like that coming from the stereo. I've got remote control, antenna control, and mute. And from what I understand, the remote control is, or the power control, what do they call it? Yeah, remote control is to the steering wheel remote control adapter, so that's kind of lame. The blue is the antenna control, and the blue-white is the power control wire. So I'm looking for the blue-white, they call it antenna control, and that's what I'm going to grab. Yeah, I don't have a blue one coming out of here. So this antenna control is, maybe it's for raising and lowering a power antenna for older cars or weirder cars, but that's the one that turns on the amp, and that's supposed to be in B3 on this connector. So these are the B's, and they read from right to left, and this is B3 right here. Go figure, it's also blue. Anyway, I'm going to solder those together, and then I'm going to wrap up this one. Notice I wrapped up all the speaker level so that they don't short out on anything, and I'm going to... oh, I marked these guys front left and back left and everything so that I can plug them back into there when I install this sucker. And we're really close now. Woo, really close. Oh, and I have to rescrew in the amp, which I completely removed as I was trying to learn about it. And then I went online and learned about it without doing anything. So, go internet. Well, I'm here to tell you something awful. Everything went in all together and it looks elegant and whatnot. And I've got my USB playing. But listen to this. Listen, just listen. You hear that? And then I play again and then pause it. Oh, that thump is the amplifier turning on and off. and the amplifier is controlled with a signal cable that comes out of here. So Kenwood is saying turn on and off the amplifier when I switch tracks, darn it. And the only solution that I can come up with this, I haven't done any research yet, so other people might have a better idea, but the only solution that I've come up with is to build a switch in. No, I've got two solutions. One, I build in a switch that says amplifier on or off, and then I just turn it off every time I leave the car. That's dangerous though, because if I forget to turn it off, I might drain the battery of the car. The other option is I don't let the Kenwood decide when to turn the amplifier on, but I turn on the amplifier anytime the car is on. So I can find another, maybe I just go to the yellow if Accessory is on. No, yellow is always on. The red, maybe I'll just go to the red. And if the red is on when the car is in Accessory or on, then the amplifier will be on, and so it won't be turning on and off. I'm probably going to, I'm really annoyed, so I'm probably just gonna let it go, and then I'll post in the comments whether I went back within a couple days, because that thud it's actually a rather rich thud. It's like, oh, it's like being hit in the face with a bunch of water balloons made of sound. Listen. Oh. Right, so anyway, this is me saying goodbye. You should not feel too intimidated by this project. It's really not as bad as I made it out to be, and I learned a lot about the car in the process. Oh yeah, so these are 2 ohm speakers. These guys right here, 2 ohm speakers and 2 ohm tweeters. I guess if they're run together, I don't even know if there's a crossover in there, but if they're run together, then maybe they'd be in parallel, and so you'd have even less than 2 ohms. I don't know how they get away with that. It must be a really weird amplifier. Whatever. See ya.